Welcome to another episode of the Spurs Rewind. I'm going to be joined today I'm going to be joined by our good friend here and our Project Spurs counterpart, Josh Paredes. How do you say your last name?
Oh,
Paredes?
you're Paredes.
Paredes. Okay. I was
Yeah,
getting
it's tough,
tongue-tied
man.
here. I don't know why. Maybe it was because I've been outside in the sun for a little bit.
You froze up. You're like, oh
Yeah,
no.
for
Yeah, I
real.
had I have that issue a lot. I just tell people Paredes if it's like, somebody I don't think is gonna want to roll their R's, but either one is fine.
Brrr.
It's cool. Yeah, yeah, just like a tiger. Yeah,
Yeah.
Paredes. Yeah, it's good to be here. Yeah, I was a writer and now I do social, so good to now venture into the show aspect of it.
Yeah, so we're going to have Josh joining us more often here on the Spurs Rewind as we just go ahead and, recap the week that is, San Antonio Spurs basketball. So we're going to go ahead and start off talking about the subject that is near and dear to every San Antonio Spurs fan, and it has set Spurs Twitter ablaze. Every day is
Uh,
something new, and it gets ugly out
uh-huh.
there sometimes. But it's the Spurs' woes, home woes, as of, this recent 9-game homestand. Currently, the Spurs are well at the time of this recording, they're 7 games into the homestand, and they don't have a good record, man. 7 games in,
None.
and they're 2-5, and they have a
Mm.
game actually tonight coming up, which is going to be game number 8, and this is going to be against the Indiana Pacers. After this, they have one more home game, and then they hit the road again, and I believe that
Yeah.
it's for 5 games. So
Yeah, five. This is going to be a 5 game road trip after this, after the one against Cleveland. So,
no
I
bueno,
mean,
man.
good. Maybe good that they're going on the road soon. It's weird to say, but it's true.
No bueno. So let's go ahead and take a look back and really see what has been ailing the Spurs as of late. They started their 9-game homestand against the Hornets, and much to the dismay of Spurs fans, it was to an L, a big L, 100-97. Then the Clippers came calling back to back. We got blown out of the water in that first game. Kawhi was playing, and things just were going right for the Clippers. Everything was going wrong for San Antonio. San Antonio couldn't couldn't hit water. They fell out of a boat, dude. It was that
No.
bad. 134-101 was the final score. Then on the
Uh,
second game of the back-to-back against the Clippers, a game that I was there in attendance to go ahead and witness because I got me some tickets for my birthday. They lost to the Clippers again, but they put more of a valiant effort, more of a fight. 98-85 was the final score. Then against the Chicago Bulls. And this one on paper, you would think, oh, okay, well, maybe the Spurs have a shot to really, come out here and blow the Bulls out of the water. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened.
yeah,
They blew them out of the water, 120-104. So we're like, okay, we're getting back on track again.
almost a little comeback there, but they
Yeah,
they held off
they
in the
held
fourth.
off. It got interesting. I'm gonna be with you on that one. It got really interesting, but
Yeah.
they held off the run and they were able to go ahead and close out the game. Now against the Kings, they didn't fare too well. The Kings bested us 132-115, but on this again, the back to back, on that second game of the back to back, the Spurs winded up getting the better of the Kings, 120-106, which brings us to this last game. The Hawks. The Spurs could have easily beat this team, but here's the woes that has been plaguing the Spurs. They've been having issues with the pick and roll. They can't defend it very well. In transition D, they're all over the place. They're not very consistent. Another thing that kind of ails them a lot is their inability to knock down the perimeter jump shots. And they become a one dimensional team. And teams have already caught on to this, meaning that they go ahead and take out the Spurs' ability to go ahead and just force the issue and drive to the rim.
Oh yeah.
Keldon Johnson's ability to drive to the basket is taken away. DeMar DeRozan is going to really have to work for his shots. And basically, they make the Spurs an outside shooting team, a jump shot team. And if their perimeter jump shots aren't going down, and their 3-pointers are not going to go into the basket as well, it's going to be a
Yeah.
long night. And it's that simple. The Spurs trying to beat them is not rocket science. But I guess what it really boils down to is this young core is still learning. And the one thing that really perturbs Spurs fans, and I'm going to get your feedback on this right now too, Josh, is Coach Pop. They keep coming at Coach Pop and getting mad at Coach Pop because he refuses to play Devin Vassell or Keldon Johnson, much like he did in this Atlanta Hawks game. In overtime, he played a lot of Patty. He played a lot of Rudy. He
Right.
didn't play Keldon. He didn't play Devin, which could have changed the complexion of the game. The Hawks wind up winning this game in double overtime, 134 to 129. Spurs fans are really upset. I mean, bring us off the ledge, Josh. What good news do you have for us?
Okay. Well, I mean, there's a lot to unpack here. I would say definitely don't be on the ledge for something like this right now with this team. They are going to have their rough patches, and this is clearly a big one. What I would say is I understand about Vassell and Keldon. I actually have been kind of looking at their minutes too, and kind of wondering the same thing myself. Just as somebody that wants to see them win, um, so I do question it sometimes, but at the same time, it's Coach Pop. Like you have to trust what his plan is. He's working his guys in slowly. Some of us would maybe want it to be a little quicker, but it's not the end of the world that the Spurs, are having this struggle right now. We don't expect them to be, a second round, third round playoff team. So, I mean, it's just about lowering your expectations to what this team is capable of, and then getting ready for what it can be whenever these players really have the chance to thrive. We're probably not going to see much of Rudy and Patty beyond this year, unless there's some maybe Patty. I couldn't see Gay staying. I'm not sure about that. So, I mean, it's not going to be like this forever. So we kind of just need to chill out a little bit, I think.
It kind of feels like it's going to be like this forever in the minds of Spurs fans because they want to get back to their winning ways and they want
Yeah, they want to immediately back to 50-win seasons.
they want the team to get to the playoffs. And I understand. I feel their pain,
Right.
but it's a growing process. And right now, with LaMarcus Aldridge still fresh on our minds and him leaving, going with the Nets, and then looking like he's having a second resurgence of his career with the Nets because he had a really good all around
Yeah.
game,
We'll see. It was one game. We'll
Yeah, it's
see.
one game exactly. And then he comes out and says something to the effect of, I get to be myself over here. And this is
Yeah.
one thing that I was going to ask you about that kind of, I don't know, man. It's a topic of discussion. When a player says something, I'm allowed to be myself. He wasn't allowed to be himself with the San Antonio Spurs? Because this is the issue
Yeah.
that I have. What kind of message does that send to other players that are listening to this and maybe thinking about
Yeah.
coming to play for San Antonio, but you're not necessarily going to be able to be yourself, meaning you're not going to necessarily be able to play a role that you're comfortable with because at the end of the day, Coach Pop is going to say, I need you to do this for the betterment of the team. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, in my opinion, I don't think he was trying to go for that angle of, kind of throwing a jab at the Spurs. I'm not even sure if he said allowed to play. He might have just said like I can be
Yeah,
myself,
that's what he
which
said.
does something like that. So it is sounds kind of backhanded. So that would be negative if other teams or players kind of see it that way. I just feel like, he hasn't been interviewed in a long time. He hasn't really been like, he was kind of nervous. It sounded like he sounded like Tony Parker saying, every, every like 5 seconds in his interview. So he's just kind of saying, anything that came to his mind. It just kind of seemed like I don't really, the way they broke up, it was amicable. He gave the Spurs back a lot of money, and he helped them, set up for getting Jang and everything. So I think that, if people take it that way, it might just be going a little overboard. And I don't really think other like players, potential future Spurs are going to look at that as any kind of shot at the Spurs. I mean, I'm hoping that anyways.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that as well. We just never know what's going to happen. We really, at the end of the day, we don't know what went on behind closed doors. We're kind of
Right.
speculating at this point. But when you hear things like that, oh, I'm allowed, to be myself. I can be myself on this team, and really play
Yeah.
the position that he wants to play. Even he knows he's going to be playing limited minutes. Maybe this kind of makes him feel a little bit better by playing, let's say, limited minutes, coming off the bench, but with a contender. That's
Yeah.
the thing with the Spurs. Let's face it; it wasn't like this team was going to be vying for a championship. They're not going to go
Right.
on a championship run. He knows that they're in a rebuilding phase. And I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things too, Josh, is that maybe this sends a clear message to one DeMar DeRozan as well, and that LA leaving and choosing to go ahead and play with the team that can possibly get him a chip. This signals the rebuild mode for all intents and purposes. So that maybe DeMar DeRozan, maybe in the offseason, I wouldn't be mad at him if he decides to go and play with
No.
a different team to get a chip, you know?
Yeah, and honestly, there's a way that it could work for both sides at this point. There's just, I mean, he's great. He's our closer. But there comes a time where, a lot of times we're just sticking to ISOs, DeMar at the end of games, and it's getting pretty predictable. And I don't know how much longer the Spurs can get away with just, having him as the focal point and then just building around him. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I could see either way working, honestly. He works great with the young guys too, but there's obviously still some pieces that need to be put in if he's going to stay. And then if he does leave, definitely rebuild mode for sure.
Yeah, so we'll have a wait and see approach to see what's going to happen. But the Spurs schedule
Yeah.
doesn't get any easier. We're looking and seeing that they have one more game after they play the Pacers, and I believe the last game is that against the Cavaliers. I believe, is that correct?
Right, that's against the Cavaliers,
Yeah.
who are like 17 and 30 something. So,
Yeah, but the Cavaliers always give us
but
fits,
yeah,
So
got Sexton and stuff. So there's no easy games anymore, and like there used to be. Check it off. There's none of those at this season.
no, there isn't. And then it doesn't get easier for them when they hit the road on that 5-game roadie because back to back they face the dreaded Denver Nuggets. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't got no words for this road trip. It's not looking good.
No.
That's all I can say. I mean, there's possibilities in here somewhere that the Spurs can catch a team sleeping on the back end of a back to back on any given night. Anything can happen. But let's face it. I mean, the way that this team has been playing as of late, wins are going to be hard to come by, especially on the road against some of the better teams. I mean, you have the Detroit Pistons, you have the Magic, which, you could possibly sneak in some wins there if you just play
Yeah.
4 full quarters, or you just play that fourth quarter
Decently.
nicely, where you're able to actually get stops. And I think that's been the most disheartening thing as of late is the Spurs' inability to get stops in that fourth quarter. They can't be exchanging shots because that's not going to win you the game.
Trae Young, man, I swear.
Dude, there's no way you could have stopped him. He was just
No, yeah.
going off. But you can
It's a part of that pick and roll stuff we were talking
yeah,
about.
exactly. And then when the guy's just stopping and popping for a three, I mean, what are you gonna do? You can't do nothing but tip your hat and say nice shot.
Right. Yeah.
So the Spurs just need to do better collectively at trying to go ahead and cover the three. I think they just haven't done a very good job of that because again, against playing against the Hawks, we saw the Hawks, especially in OT, just going off, for threes again, uncontested threes, pick and roll, screens, Spurs just kind of playing that zone and getting stuck, ball watching, and before they knew it, they're late coming off of the defensive rotation. Boom, 3-pointer going down, and that's it. You work so hard to get within one, and then boom, it's gone. You're down by 4. Then before you know it, it's 6. Then it's 10, and then it's pretty much game over because you're gassed.
Yeah,
So,
I think I tweeted from Project Spurs about on that Hawks game that it seemed like they were shooting 100%. The Hawks were every time the Spurs cut it to one possession.
yeah.
There were at least 6 or 7 times in a row that they just came and buried a three or just hit some dagger every time the Spurs cut it to 2 or 3. And I was like, what can we do at this point?
Get us
No stops.
try to get a stop. The only time that they were really making runs, and it was something that I noticed, is when the Hawks were their own worst enemy. They committed a turnover or they fumbled the ball and it just, the Spurs got it. But it wasn't really that the Spurs had played lockdown defense and they were getting deflections or they were getting the stops that they needed. That wasn't happening. You just were hoping that the Hawks would make a mistake and the Spurs would capitalize on that. And that happened a couple times, but it wasn't good enough to sustain that they were going to wind up getting a lead and sustaining that lead. They would cut it close, but it was just too much Hawks defense. And not only that, but the Hawks bench played outstanding compared to the Spurs bench. I mean, they outscored them by, I think it was like 40-20 or something like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, the Patty's struggles really showed in that one. That he's usually good for at least 13, 14. So that kind of hurt a bit.
Yeah, our vets were kind of looking a little winded near that double overtime. I think at that point, Coach Pop should have just pulled them and said, valiant effort, guys, but take the night off on you.
Yeah, that's where I see the point of views of, people after that on Twitter saying, "Hey, what's up with Vassell and Keldon?"
Keldon.
So that's why I get those, because especially when you're on the back to back and they're younger and fresher. But I think Pop just has a tendency to stick with the guys that got him to the overtime a
Yeah.
lot, and then he just keeps it riding. And
They're already
that's
in a
what happens.
groove, and he doesn't want to kind
Yeah,
of interrupt
so you
that.
can see both sides to it. But I
Yeah.
mean, if they would have won, they would have been like, "Hey, that was genius." He kept them in and they got it done.
Yeah, but
So
Spurs fans were raking Coach Pop over coals after that
yeah,
game.
there's no hindsight with the Spurs
There's
Twitter sometimes.
there's no chill on Spurs Twitter. But one of the things that we can go ahead and start alluding to or transitioning to right now is another topic, and that's going to be the San Antonio Spurs announcing that they're going to have a special Tim Duncan Hall of Fame induction kind of ceremony on the game that's going to occur on May 15th against the Phoenix Suns, which the Phoenix Suns are playing pretty good ball right now.
Yeah.
So that's not an easy dub anymore, you know?
No, yeah, it kind of reminds me of the Tony Parker retirement night, because we played the Grizzlies on that night and
Mm-hmm.
lost that one. So it's like, well, why are you choosing that game? But that is the day he's getting inducted, so
Yeah, that is the day
can't
he's
really
getting
help it.
inducted. We have no word yet if they're going to wind up giving something special away to the fans. I'm sure they're going to keep that close to the vest, and not really say anything until maybe that a week before, a couple days before. Oh, you're going to wind up getting a commemorative T-shirt or something, or a hat or whatever. And that would be cool because I brought tickets to that game before they started getting out of hand. So if you haven't bought your tickets, there were still some available on Ticketmaster in the $43, $53 range. If you want to go see that, do yourself a favor too. If you're going to go ahead and buy the tickets off of Ticketmaster, make sure that you do get your parking pass, because going out there to the AT&T Center paying $20 to park in no man's land is not fun. You want to park in lots 3. Ideally, I park in lot 4. Love lot 4. I always have my parking spot. I know exactly where I'm going to park, and then I just walk. It seems like not even like 2-3 minutes, and boom, I'm already at the front door of the AT&T Center. So
it's worth it for sure.
and it's only like $18 for parking if you buy the parking pass versus paying $20. And you don't want to park across the street, man. That's it's living ghetto fabulous. Paying the $10.
I've done that too many times in the past.
And the thing is that I've had friends that done that, right? You park, you want to live ghetto fabulous, you go ahead and park across the street, try to save some cash, get you some extra, coin to spend on beer or whatever you. And something happens, man. Like your car gets dented, somebody backed up into it, or somebody broke your window because they're trying to go ahead and see what you got in their car. I'm just like, no, man, just don't do that.
Just spend the extra cash.
Exactly, man. So I'm just saying, I went to the game too, against the Clippers, and I felt safe when I went, with all the COVID-19 precautions that they have in place. I mean, they send you a whole bunch of stuff, especially when you buy a ticket through Ticketmaster. They send you an app. You have to download the Clear app, answer a health questionnaire as far as, have you had the COVID-19 symptoms, coughing, have you felt sick, have you been around anybody or anything like that. You answer those questions, and basically you have to pay for everything with your debit card. You have to go through the Spurs app. You can order your food and then just go and pick it up because they'll notify you, hey, your order is ready. And you just go, boom, you pick it up. Everything is paperless. So if you're bringing money to the AT&T Center, you're out of luck. But they do have some fire merchandise there. One of my buddies got a baseball jersey, a Spurs baseball jersey. You can only buy at the fan shop. And that thing was fire, man. I got to get one. But they're so expensive. I think it was like $150.
Yeah, everything is there. But I mean, it's the price of shopping at the game, I guess. Was it like Fiesta type?
Yes, dude, it was teal.
Colors?
It was
teal.
teal.
I think I saw that there. I was looking recently at the store because they had the Coffee Gang stuff. I was just gonna see what they had, and I saw that there.
Yeah, that baseball jersey awesome. Is dope. I want to get one of those, and they got them in big boy sizes, so I can actually wear one without feeling constricted because I got big shoulders, And they have a bunch of stuff there, like the hats and all that stuff. But more importantly, I felt safe when I was there. They took every precaution needed to make the experience really nice for everybody. And it was kind of something that you have to get used to because you see how far apart all the fans are. And the noise is still being fed into the arena because even with the fans in attendance, if they scream or they yell, it's going to be a mere whimper compared to what it normally sounds like on a regular game day.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but I've gone to several games because I actually do something on the side where I do some scouting for this company that kind of that needs like live stats to be tracked.
Oh
It's
yeah, yeah.
for like betting and stuff. So I've gone to a lot of games this season, but I use the media entrance and all that stuff. But I was going to a lot before any fans, so it's been strange to see like how it was at that point, because they would pump in crowd noise. They still
Yeah.
do, but that's all you would hear. So I would hear the players. I'm still, they have the media in like section 200s,
It's
but
over there by the
still,
Spurs fan zone is what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was just, yeah, the fan zone is
Yeah.
where I sit for that. And I just specifically remember one game where the Spurs barely pulled it out. They had a comeback, and I remember, I think Patty Mills got the rebound to seal it, and then it was just the buzzer, and then they just like walked off, and it was just quiet. I was like, this, it felt so weird compared to whenever there's a whole crowd, because
Yeah.
they would have been going crazy. It was a big comeback. I can't remember what game it was, but I remember like how it ended because it was so bizarre. I'm like,
It
okay, I
was a
guess we'll just
mere
go home now.
whimper.
Yeah, strange.
Yeah, it's strange, but I enjoyed the experience.
Yeah, they're safe now for sure.
But if y'all gonna go to the game, make sure that you go and hit up that Burger Teca or La Gloria like I did. Man, that food over there, La Gloria, was good. And they have like this mango nada that's really good there. It's like I saw my friends posting pictures. I'm like, I gotta try this thing, man, to see what it's like. Oh, that was good, man. So
I think that actual restaurant just introduced like a puppy Rita too or something. I just read.
yeah,
I think it was Lagodia, like because I have a couple dogs, and I was telling my wife, "Hey, we should check that out," because they have something for the dogs too. But yeah, they're
yeah,
good.
it's really good. So you're gonna go to the game. You're gonna be buy a ticket. You're gonna feel safe. Everything there is set up to have a real good smooth transition while you're there watching the game. So make sure you go out and check it out if you want to. And it's gonna be the Tim Duncan NBA Hall of Fame inductee night. So I know that they're gonna have some fire merch of some kind. I'm interested to see what it's gonna
Yeah.
be. Personally, I'm hoping for like a little Timmy, bobblehead or something, because I got the shirts already from when they had Tim Duncan retirement
Yeah.
night. I got the hat hanging up here from the Manu retirement night. I like the bobbleheads, dude. So they could do like a Timmy bobblehead night. That'd be fire, dude.
Yeah, that would be cool if they did like his outfit for when he received the MVP, when he had the sandals, and
Yeah.
do a bobblehead of that. That'd be awesome. Collectible for sure.
The picture of him that gets memed the most.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
would be.
that
I
would be
would want
funny.
that bobblehead.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and start closing this shop here, and let's talk about the DeMar DeRozan bobblehead. I know that that's something that's been put out there, and Spurs fans were kind of talking about that a little bit, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. It's made by a company called Foco, Foco, and they do a lot of different types of customized bobbleheads and sell different types of merchandise. That's all NBA themed. You can go to their website and check them out. That's where the Rudy Gay bobblehead is available currently for pre-order. I believe it ships July 16th. They're going to have a limited run. It's about 200, I think they're going to make. And currently, right now, as of this recording, I believe it's $60. So I know Spurs fans were buying it. Kind of a steep price to pay for a
Yeah.
bobblehead, So I don't know if I'm going to actually buy one. I'm thinking about them on the fence, so we'll see what happens. But what do you think, Josh?
Yeah, well, first, I think the last bobblehead I had was Kawhi, so that's of course no longer in my possession. For this one, I do like that they had the jersey choice that they made. That's
Fiesta.
my favorite one is the black, with the stripes on it. That so I like it. It's cool. Like I'm not big on bobbleheads in general, but if I were to get one and it wasn't $60, definitely would spring for something like that, because it seems like, especially if it's limited like that, it's a nice collector's item. So I like it.
Yeah, you could probably flip that for double, maybe on eBay, but
Yeah, that's true.
you're gonna hang on to it until somebody actually wants it. That's
Yeah,
that's the flip side to that. You're not gonna make your money right away.
right. It's like an NFT or something.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of like the bobblehead myself. It was cool looking, Fiesta themed up with the jersey, and then the little
Yeah.
stand that he's on is also got the court and Fiesta it's Fiesta'd up. I thought it was cool, man. I mean, if I had the money, and I do, but I'm just $60, dude.
If I had the money and wanted to use it on this, then I would. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, do I want to spend $60 on a DeMar DeRozan bobblehead, or do I want to spend $60 on beer?
Yeah.
you know,
Not, it's Not a tough call there.
Yeah, yeah. So there you have it. But that's what we're kind of talking about. This week, Spurs woes. Tim Duncan, the inductee, NBA Hall of Fame inductee night that they're gonna have on May the 15th, and of course the DeMar DeRozan bobblehead. And I know that there's one more item out there that's circulating. Spurs fans are actually posting pictures of it now, and that would be the coveted Spurs Oreo. Have you tried those yet?
Oh, no, I haven't. I think it's the one that has the five different teams on
The
it, right? Like the different
dynasties.
dynasty teams.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. At least Oreo thinks we're officially a dynasty. I know that was I know that was a topic of question for a lot of people in the 2000s. So I haven't tried it. Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it yet. I know I'm gonna probably wind up going to HEB either today or sometime next week, and I'll go ahead and check it out and see if there's some
Yeah.
there. And I mean, it's an Oreo, dude. It just
I mean, I
has
was
a
gonna
Spur
say, I
on it.
imagine it just tastes like an Oreo, right? They
Yeah,
didn't put any type of flavor
yeah.
in it.
It would have been fire though if they would have just done like Spurs Oreos, and the frosting in the middle would just like fiested up with the colors
Yeah.
on it.
Some
That
kind of breakfast taco flavor.
Yeah, it would have been cool if they just, would have done something a little bit different, but hey,
Yeah.
I still think it's a cool concept. You got the Oreo and it got the Spurs logo or, on it, the
Yeah.
Spur on it itself. So I
Whatever
don't know.
publicity we can get.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd eat the Miami Heat one, but
Just throw it in the trash.
yeah,
Ray Allen.
you throw it in the trash. Just, yeah, exactly. Especially if it had Ray Allen on the back.
Oh
No,
God.
no.
I would just leave it at HEB. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. But it's an Oreo, dude. So I know Mike was like, the hot topic of the day was a Spurs Oreo cookie until it was announced that LMA and the Spurs had reached
Yeah.
a mutual agreement to, they're going to buy him out. And then Mike was laughing.
Oh, that was the same day.
That was the same day. He was like, the hot story of the day was the Spurs Oreo. And then all of a sudden, LA came out and he was like, whoa.
Never mind. Yeah.
How things change. It changes that fast. So we're going to go ahead and bring this show to an end. But also make sure that you go and check out our friends over at the Spurs Cast. They got some great stuff coming up to keep you informed on all the things that are going on with the San Antonio Spurs. Paul Garcia, Michael De Leon, Josh, Colin, Reed, Benjamin Bornstein. They all do such a great job out there. Even Steven Anderson comes out on the Spurs Cast from time to time. All do a great job bringing you the latest and the greatest in the world of San Antonio Spurs basketball. So before we close this episode of the Spurs Rewind, Josh, where can they go ahead and interact with you on social media?
Twitter is the main one, as we were talking about earlier. Facebook is kind of fading out. Twitter, Josh810 is where you can find me. I'm also running Project Spurs at Project Spurs. Most game days, I'm live tweeting. You'll probably see me tonight doing that, sharing articles and stuff. So yeah, Josh810. And one thing I wanted to bring up about Project Spurs, we're starting to do a giveaway a month.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, so this one is actually going to be the 5-game road trip that's coming up. This is kind of like a sneak peek of what we're going to do. I'm going to have people guess, their record on that 5-game road trip. Might be 1-4. I don't know. We'll see.
0-5.
And then, yeah, please at least beat the Magic. I don't know. So I'm going to post that probably shortly before the first game of that road trip on Twitter. Anybody that wants to enter, anybody that maybe ties for the most, we'll have a little drawing or something, or a tiebreaker. And actually you can win one of these, which I have. It's not going to be this one itself, but we have another version of this, nice Fiesta colored tumbler that we'll be giving away to that winner. So just stay tuned to Project Spurs on Twitter to get that.
And there you go. Make sure you go ahead and keep up with the Project Spurs Twitter account for the nice and lovely giveaways as Josh has just shown you. I'm especially, want to go ahead and get my hands on that Spurs Fiesta themed tumbler. That's pretty cool, man.
It's nice. I've been using it every day since I got it.
Yeah, nice, dude. I got to get one of those. Hey, Mike, maybe you might want to send some to the staff.
Hook them up. Listen to this.
Exactly. So you can also interact with me on Twitter. That's where I'm most active most days, and we talk about anything from San Antonio Spurs basketball, where we get stuck deep in the rabbit hole talking about Kong versus Godzilla and, how we got beat down and this and that. It's a lot of fun. So make sure you go ahead and interact with me on social media. And you can reach me at 2 Shots Podcasts, which is spelled out TWO, 2 Shots Podcast. So for Josh, I'm Joe Garcia. Thank you for watching another episode of the Spurs Rewind. And like I always say, spread the love, stop the hate, be kind. We're out. Peace.